players at the highest level of competition here, and we're looking forward to see how it stakes out. Jumping straight into the first game here. IBeenn's sitting on his rogue, as we know from earlier Empanizado, with his warrior going over the mulligans here. We see some of the key cards though in this matchup for warrior here. The Dr. Bootman Genius, the Range Caliber Warpath, things that just remove stuff so you can survive, versus this aggressive start that the rogue can employ.
This is actually a really great start for EBeennn as well. Looking just kind of at the mulligan, specifically keeping Evil Miscreant. You can gain a lot of tempo from getting some of those lackeys from the combo, and then you also have the Ziliax there as well, and that's going to be great for removing some of those, mid-game minions that can come on board.
It's also the thing that, like, the rogue with Myras and stuff, Myras is a card that is crucial to the rogue's game plan of just getting more resources to kill your opponent, but with Bomb Warrior putting bombs in your deck, you might just die by doing it. And Ziliax can be, it's the only source of healing that he even got in his deck, and it's important to actually take that into account when you that you use it properly, so you actually heal up some of the damage you might be taking, because this warrior deck, even though it is the control in this matchup, it can actually just smork you down.
It absolutely can, but this is kind of an awkward start for both of these players. You can see that Empanizado is sitting on 2 Omega Devastators, and those really don't get the value that you expect them to see until the very later parts of the game, when you do have that 10 mana to be able to utilize that 10 extra damage that you get there. So I'm expecting a little bit of a slower start for Empanizado, not too much that he can really answer to either, but EBeenn's going to go ahead and get this Hench Clan Rogue Thug down, and we're going to start seeing some buffs coming out. Not too much right now that Empanizado can do to really answer that, unless they want to use Shield Slam, Warpath.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources that need to go in to actually answer this.
Yeah.
Though this Town Crier pickup, though, gives him an option to maybe be able to deal with it next turn. But that's next turn, and you will be clocking in on 5 damage next turn at least. So thinking about how you really should approach this matchup going forward, because there's a lot of removal tools in the warrior deck, and that's why it's built up. But the problem occurs when these removal tools need to be used sparingly if the rogue just tempos you out, because they have a lot more threats than you have removal, especially if you don't draw anything.
Yeah, that's really the matchup here. So Warrior really does have a little bit of an edge because of all the removal tools that they have, but you're absolutely right. When they run out of those tools, then Rogue is really able to come and sweep the board. But EBeennn now has to be a little careful here. Empanizado did draw Militia Commander with the Town Crier.
Yeah. There's also the issue that how wide you can go. Empanizado runs double brawl, and that's also always a scary card for the rogue, because it's, you want to get into a position where you can force out the brawl without actually hurting your own side of the board that much. You just have just enough pressure that the warrior feels that he needs to use brawl, because the sooner you use the brawl, the wider you can go. And even here though, just getting this Hench Clan to grow bigger every turn here to be a threat that Empanizado has to deal with going forward. This Militia Commander that he drew last turn though is one of those answers, if he so pleases.
Yeah, I think he almost has to. You really don't want to allow that Hench Clan Thug to stay on board for too long. This is going to be a really good clear here for Empanizado, but it does leave the board wide open for EBeennn to continue to use that tempo.
Yeah. We saw him picking up the Witchy Lackey from the Evil Cable Rat though. And what he really wanted was something like the Ethereal Lackey, or...
He wanted the Ethereal Lackey.
Yeah, some of the other lackeys that you can just use as combo activator for this Evil Miscreant. Currently now the Witchy Lackey will just be a 1/1 to activate the Evil Miscreant, because getting those lackeys is one of the key factors here for the rogue going forward. And it's, if it was one of the other lackeys like Ethereal Lackey, he would never, he doesn't even use resources to get this combo activated. You might even see it just using Eviscerate as a 2 damage spell, just because he values the Witchy Lackey higher for evolving some other minions later.
Yeah, Going to actually, hovering over that Witchy Lackey though, so going to opt to just use it as that combo activator tool. Gonna get another Witchy Lackey. That's unlucky. That's really not the one that you wanted to see, but the Cobalt Lackey's pretty good.
Getting the second
That's
one.
awesome,
Oh,
though.
that upgrade though is huge. Getting a 5/6, that's a huge high roll into the 4-mana slot. It's not many big minions in the 4-mana slots that bigger than a Felguard.
Definitely not great as a combo activator, but if you're gonna get a Felguard off of it, then
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good pull.
And here now, Empanizado just basically you remove the 5/5 Hench Clan Thug just earlier, and now suddenly struggling with like, oh, there's a 5/6 on board, and I don't have any kind of removal before a couple of turns later. He can, of course, set it up over a few turns. You can also Eternium Rover Celiax now to get some heal and puts a decent sized body in the way that heals him up. But that also means that the Celiax is gone, which you might need later. This though is a pretty cool play with the double Warpath there, being able to gain some armor with the Eternium Rover, being able to coin out Shield Slam for the last 4 points of damage, and still leaving a 1/1 on board.
Yeah, going to get maximum value here from that Eternium Rover, and it does mitigate some of the damage that it will be taking from the Felguard, buying some time as well for removal, but
Using 2 removal pieces though,
Yeah,
for
that's a lot.
like Warpath on that kind of board was not really worth it, but it had to be done because the bigger threat was the 5/6.
that does remove that takes away the option though for some of those removal tools for what we know is in EBeenn's hand though.
Yeah, and also using the coin means that coin Dr. Boom or Boom coin Shield Slam on turn 7 is now out
Yeah.
of the question. Like one of the ways that Rogue often wins this matchup is also that yes, Dr. Boom is so crucial for the warrior, but if it's just too much pressure on board, you never get to play the Dr. Boom. You're in a bit of a pickle for the warrior. But currently though, EBeenn's hands isn't that high pressure.
Yeah, definitely not. And you have the right Dr. Boom in hand right now. You definitely want to see Mad Genius first, especially because we've seen Empanizado struggle a little bit to actually put bombs into EBeenn's deck. He really hasn't seen the opportunity to get some of that momentum going here. It does have Wrench Caliber, but nothing to activate that special, that special roll.
Yeah, and seeing here now though, EBeennn puts up a 4 damage board with Celiax. Celiax is a tricky minion to remove for the warrior because of, well, it's a mech, so stuff like Dynamatic doesn't do anything about it.
Yep.
You need to double hit into it with something. And if you see his hand, it's really explosive here with 14 damage with the Leroy Jenkins and double Eviscerate, if that so may happen. And with the Sap as well, you can get through any kind of like the opponent's playing a Celiac. So there's a lot of reach here that you can get to later. I'm playing out this Omega Devastator just for tempo.
That doesn't feel good.
No, but it seems like it has to be done. Ooh, picking up the High Spire and Togwaggle just straight away just to get the everything rolling here. Picking up the Wondrous Wand faster than we can actually see the options here, and one of the key cards going in further, because this means that you can draw 3 cards that get reduced to 0 mana, which can really amp up that burst potential you have with the Leroy and the Eviscerate.
Absolutely. You can see Empanizado is struggling a little bit here.
There's 8 damage represented on board, and you know it's 9 with the dagger anyways. And
all right, so Boom's out.
so Boom's out. This means all the mechs have rushed. This helps a lot.
It does, absolutely. And the Blastmaster Boom pickup. Not going to get the value though because there are no bombs in the deck. But it's still a 7/7 body. That's not terrible to put on
It's not
board.
terrible, no. But and with the Wrench Caliber, you can easily put 2 more bombs in deck and then just have all these boom bots. And the boom bots gets rush. Blastmaster Boom in itself doesn't because, well, he's not a mech, but walk the plank and a hench clan thug. Okay, so now we assembling more burst possibilities here. This SI7 represents 2 damage from hand if you ever want that as well, meaning your total burst from hand on 9 mana is 16. This reminds me of the old Druid combo that was also it was 14. But this is just getting worse and worse for Empanizado here going forward. Yeah, yes, the boom is active, really protecting him and getting him that rush minions, but this big hand side from EBeennn really push everything through. Another Combo Lackey as well, representing another 2 damage.
I almost want to see Henge Clan Thug go down here. Like, go ahead and use Dagger Mastery in Henge Clan Thug.
Yeah,
maybe try to build it up here, because Ziliax protects a lot of the removal tools that Empanizado would have to be able to remove that. But actually not going to see that. May as well maybe save the resource there as well, just in case this is kind of an overextension of the board.
Yeah, into the brawl that we just saw Empanizado just drawing in the nick of time there, because this board is starting to get out of hand. The thing is, though, like, if this 5-5 survives, you're still taking 5 next turn as well, and you don't want to get clocked by 5 every turn here.
Honestly, anything except for the Evil Miscreant on board might really hurt Empanizado.
Yeah.
And that's a 25% chance to see the Evil Miscreant being the last one standing through the brawl. So this is still a little bit of a situation here.
Yeah,
Militia
and
Commander.
using this brawl as well, you just saw your opponent drawing 3 cards, which all have 0 mana cost. He spent one of them, basically, and then you basically know that he can refill the board anytime he wants. Going for this a little bit more, not using brawl play, still leaving up 6 damage, but also equipping this Wrench Caliber, meaning he can play Blastmaster Boom next turn and be able to really go off.
Yeah, the likelihood of drawing the one bomb that's in the deck right now is very slim, so you will see some sort of extra board presence coming out from Blastmaster Boom, but you still haven't gotten a chance to draw like Augmented Elic. Interesting choice that Empanizado only has 1 copy of that in the deck.
Yeah, I think the thing about his deck is basically it's built more versus the Rogue, where you cut a lot of the like LX because they're not defensive enough. You're just trying to win out the early game, or just defend out the early game and win in the late game instead, because you don't need that many bombs as a bomb warrior to kill a Rogue, because the Rogue has limited amount of healing and they like to deck themselves out due to having a heavy amount of draw here. So not seeing a brawl last turn though for EBeennn, he feels safer to go a little bit wider here, and that would basically emptying his hand here now, building a big Edwin.
This is going to be highly punished though.
Yeah, highly punished by this brawl here. The problem though is that there's still 2 targets, like there's 3 targets that are good if survives, which is the Togwaggle, the Henge Clan, or the Edwin. The rest could be dealt with, but you're still at 17, and well, would you look at that damage you have in hand here from EBeennn here with the Leroy, Yevistrit, and Lackey?
It was smart, because if anything survive, that's going to be
game over, yeah.
If
this
anything,
Edwin surviving is huge.
Edwin surviving is huge, but there was 3 of the cards that were on board would have been enough to be able to tip the scales in order to get that Leroy Jenkins double eviscerate combo to be enough to be lethal. So, unfortunate.
Yeah, and seeing this warrior though, this is one of the reasons why you bring warriors, to actually counter the rogues that are in the meta. But as we saw, the rogue didn't have the best starting hand, but he had enough pressure with the Henge Clan Thug and going into further, but it just wins out games because of the extreme burst, extreme board potential here. And of course, Edwin winning a brawl is always huge going forward. So
yeah, unfortunately, Empanizado really struggled, because early game had to use so many removal tools in order to, maintain some sort of control of the board. But we saw EBeennn run away with that. You really took the momentum from getting those Henge Clan Thugs on board, being able to get that 5 damage connect to face, and then just was super confident about the rest of that matchup.
Yeah, and also he needed to use, because of the Evolve, for instance, he needed to use a Shield Slam pretty early.
Yeah.
Like getting a 5-6 out of a 4-drop is pretty high rolly. If it was any other, like a lower stated minion, you might save the Shield Slam. It was enough with like a double Warpath or something like that.
Right.
And that really set the problem from there, because if he had Shield Slam at later date, he could save a lot of health by just Shield Slamming something like the Hexbot Baron or the Edwin. But
yeah, had to use it for that Falguard.
Yeah.
Did not want to have to take an additional 5 damage to the face after already dealing with that Henge Clan Thug.
Yeah.
But this is what we're in Specialists. So now that the primary matchup is out of the way, we can see Empanizado potentially switch to something else, the secondary or the tertiary, in order to try to come back from that 1-0 loss that they're down right now. But looking at the secondary and tertiary decks, I don't know if Empanizado would really switch.
No, we have the deck list in front of us here, and seeing the secondary deck, it's basically an anti-warrior deck with like Archivist Deadly Xi'an, Geppetto Joybus, Peristalentian, Augmented Elec, which is basically, well, if I face a warrior, I have a long game.
Yeah.
So and the tertiary deck is like a double Super Collider addition for taking out some of the early game by taking out 2 Eternium Rovers, just basically saying, well, I don't like to play versus mage. This is how I can shut down big giant
Right.
boards or big conjurers calling board.
Right.
He even has like hedged a little bit against it in his primary list with running like big game hunter. But we will most likely see this primary list just get queued again, because this is the list meant for defeating aggro.
Absolutely. But we're back to game 2 already. EBeennn is going to have a little bit of a lead here as we kick things off, but Empanizado has a chance to come back from this one. It is best of 3. So this is going to be match point, though, if EBeennn does take this round as well.
Yeah. And from EBenn's sake, though, we see already one of the cards he has teched in to beat this warrior, and that's a Togwoggle Scheme here. Schemes are an interesting mechanic, though. Getting it in hand early means that it will grow to be enormous when you actually play it, and basically giving you all the resources you need to go forward to beat this warrior.
Early tempo, though, for EBeennn, but it looks like Empanizado has a lot more answers this time, so set up much better to deal with some of this pressure early on from the rogue.
Yeah, seeing it all, just playing out stuff fast here, just going with its Henge Clan into Henge Clan, being able to deal with that militia commander here. The Omega Devastator just coming down as a tempo tool. Like, yes, you can play it on 10 mana and it's great. The thing is, if you play it on 4 mana, it's still a Yeti, a mech Yeti, that needs to be removed as well for the rogue, most likely, because it curves perfectly into Ziliax. And Ziliax is, on this one, is not something you want to see, because,
No.
well,
The Magnetize, that is a lot of additional healing that can really keep Empanizado alive. And even though Rogue has some really nice removal tools, it's still very expensive to be able to remove a minion that is that big, that was magnetized with the Omega Devastator.
Yeah. Luckily for EBeennn, he runs 2 saps in this list to actually
Yes.
deal with that, but currently none of them is in hand. Going out with Evil Miscreant now, hoping to get like a lackey that can help out with this.
Witchy Lackey again. See if they get really lucky with another Felguard pull.
Yeah, or something big that you can rush in with this Goblin Lackey. Yeah, this is perfect.
That's perfect. Yep.
Yeah, it means that you don't get to buff up the Henge Clan Thug this turn, but you could get to push 4 damage to face, and sets up a decent sized board here. Hand size is getting a little bit low though, but this Spirit of the Shark Evil Cable Rat play coming next turn, or might come next turn, will give you some hand refill.
Empanizado now is getting a couple of cards in hand to really make the Bomb Warrior sing. Wrench Caliber pulled off the top here, but Acolyte is going to help to make sure that they have additional resources going into the mid game.
Yeah, and this Brawl will always ensure that you never get the board too wide here. There is some issues though for EBeennn as well. Like both of these 1/3 minions, like they don't represent that much threat for the rogue, but they're minions that you want to kill in one swift blow due to the effect of either drawing cards or giving armor. And the only thing that does that currently is just running in with this Henge Clan Thug. Here comes the Shark Novice Engineer, which is a cute play. Gives him some more hand refill. Along with this Shadow Step and the Evil Cable Rat and the Evil Miscreant, he can really go off next turn. If this Shark survives, he can basically fill up his hand with tons of lackeys. And as we see in a lot of matchups over like Grandmaster qualifiers and everything, the lackeys are a good resource to have.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that a little bit, not just as, combo starters, but also just additional bodies to have on board. But knowing that we saw a Togwaggle Scheme in hand, this is going to be the tertiary deck.
I really like this play though, by shadow stepping the Spirit of the Shark, just in case of a brawl or something like that, just killing it.
Yeah, that
just
was
so he's 100% sure that he has a play next turn with Spirit of the Shark and the Evil Miscreant, and then just either play the Evil Cable Rat or be able to play the lackeys that he's generated. And generating 4 lackeys, you're on average getting 1 on each. So you basically want the results or you have the results you want. But Empanizado here though, picking up both Dr. Booms in hand now, meaning going forward it's going to be really hard for EBeennn to get any sort of board to stick.
Well, here's that play that you were talking about, the Shark into the Evil Miscreant, going to go ahead and get a couple more lackeys here. A lot of lackeys.
And there's the Ethereal Lackey, the best one of the bunch, giving
Yes.
you an extra spell. Ooh, that's a Cold Blood.
I would take that.
Cold Blood represents 4 damage. It's basically an Eviscerate that can't go through Taunt, and yeah. Would you pair that up with a Sinister Strike? This sounds good. Also, having a Deadly Poison on hand is also 4 damage for 1 mana over 2 turns. So
I like all of these choices, though. This one's a tough one, but I agree with the Deadly Poison choice. Just in case you really need to chew through some extra damage.
So that's the question. Do you want to use the second Shadow Step here? Because you don't have anything else. You get 2 more spells from the Ethereal Lackey if you do that. Or if you just want to play out one of these minions, go even wider. Like, you want this Shark to survive 1 more turn to go off really wide next turn, but you're super scared of Brawl, though. Or even, like, Warpath in this situation.
Yeah, most definitely. I like the Goblin Lackey play just to devalue that Eternium Rover just a little bit.
Yeah, your opponent is at 25 anyways. You didn't need to push the extra 2 here. Calculating the damage, though, Leroy is a Shadow Step for 8 mana is always going to be 12. And with this Cold Blood, you can on 10 mana do 16 damage. And then you have, of course, the Dagger up with the Deadly Poison. The thing is, since Rogue has been, after the nerfs, been a little bit out of the meta, a lot of the warrior lists have cut the weapon removal part of the package, like Harrison Jones or the Weapons Project. And we see in the lists here from Empanizado, he has done that. And that Deadly Poison is going to hit for 6 over 2 turns. And that could be crucial to get the lethal you needed. The Brawl comes down, though. And who will be the winner?
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
That's a good outcome for IBeennn there. Being able to push the 3 more damage into the face. Though you would love to see the Shark survive, because then you can basically Faceless Lackey twice and just fill the board again, but this is good enough. The bomb drawn straight off the top there, putting him down to 23, but he's still quite a safe. Edwin Van Cleef is picked up, and you might just see a big Edwin play here.
Potentially. Now that the Brawl's out of the way, the likelihood of having a second Brawl in Empanizado's hand is really unlikely. So IBeennn feels pretty confident to be able to widen the board, get some really strong board presence here, and this Edwin's going to be huge.
Yeah, and also setting up, like, even if he has the second Brawl here, something will survive, and you can just start pushing damage. You have the Deadly Poison equipped, so you will chip down 6 damage over 2 turns, and you have some damage from Leroy coming in hand. So Empanizado really needs to remove this Edwin, and that clutch pick-off of Warpath there just played out instantly. Being able to double Warpath execute down and just remove the whole board might just seal him the game going forward here, because this basically stabilized him at a healthy 23 health.
Yeah, if that execute hadn't been in hand to be able to remove that Edwin, that would have been game over.
So let's see what's the next pickup here. An Eviscerate. Not exactly what you need in this position. You would love to see something like a High-Spar and Togwaggle at the moment. Be able to shuffle it in.
A little bit of an awkward play because, you know, even struggling to try to get damage, to get Empanizado in range of a Leroy Cold Blood. But you can also Leroy Shadow Step here as well.
Yeah, just Leroy Shadow Step and just punch a little bit more face. Have a more damage reach next turn with, like, Leroy Cold Blood Eviscerate. Along with also a Goblin Lackey if you want that. You could also do, like, this is a really fringe play, but Leroy Togwaggle Shadow Step. just be able to have the scheme and just drawing a Leroy every turn. Because the scheme is getting quite huge now. It should be like a 9.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
No, it's not the value plan. It's basically punching it in the face every turn for 6 damage.
That's true. But what was really good about the last couple of turns for IBeennn is that Empanizado got thrown off track a little bit from doing, Dr. Boom Mad Genius into Blastmaster Boom. So you don't have that play. That play got delayed a little bit here, and you're already seeing now IBeenn's chipping away to the point where you are going to see that Leroy Cold Blood coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, this is a lethal setup from IBeennn, though, unless there is some armor gain. But as we see here, though, the armor coming in from Dr. Boom is 7, which is an iconic 7 armor coming in. With a hero power that also deals with the minions there. Celiac's getting picked up is not necessarily what you were looking for either, because it doesn't represent that much damage. You would love to see like a Togwaggle right about now to get that 3 draw, maybe even draw a Togwaggle off it, and then just keep on chaining.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We don't have Myra's Unstable Element within this tertiary deck.
No, but he has a sprint, and that's a novice engineer, as we saw earlier as well. So you have options to draw, but you don't want to draw yourself out like with Myra's.
Right.
So the plan here is more to grind down the warrior, but like this isn't the early boom, it's a 9 boom, but 9 boom is good enough, especially when you hit the blast shield the next turn, just to basically get a 14 health swing over 2 turns.
Yeah, that's definitely going to take them out of lethal range, and it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for EBeennn here because we haven't seen some of those additional draw engines coming in that we know that are in the deck.
Yeah, and Empanizado is basically now sitting at a pretty healthy life total with also shield block in hand for 5 more armor if he so need be. Also shuffling in even more bombs now. That should be 2 bombs in the deck, yeah, giving him the opportunity. The Geppetto Joy Bus coming in though, one of the tech cards here, drawing double Life Drinker, which is 6 more burst.
That's excellent.
Which fits perfectly with this Leroy Jenkins though. This means Leroy Shadows of Coldblood, which is 16, can also be follow out next turn with 6 more damage if so be it, or just spread it out over a few turns. Problem though is this,
Okay.
shadow stepping Geppetto Joybus to actually draw heavily into even better minions that can cost 1 mana, like the Heist Baron. If he draws Heist Baron now, you can really go off with like a goblin, like a cheap Heist Baron, and just start drawing cheap cards with a wand. Let's see the Discover here. Safeguard and the Scrap Hound. The Scrap Hound is more armor. The Safeguard is basically protection that just can be handled with sap, but nothing else.
Gonna take the Scrap Hound.
And then just make the big Blastmaster Boom. Hitting first, that's important to get the most amount of boom buds out.
Yeah, you're getting full value here from Blastmaster Boom going down, except for the fact that you have the Acolyte of Pain on board.
But that's not the worst thing. Oh,
No.
getting Blast Shield again, though. It's must...
Empasado's got to feel really good about that.
Yeah, he's up to 26 health, and that's the Spirit of the Shark for 1. Ooh, and Heist Baron. Ooh.
That's the value that you really want to see from Geppetto Joy Buzz, is drawing the Togwaggle and making sure that it gets that extra value there.
Like, next turn could be really spicy because, well, with Spirit of the Shark, you have the opportunity to get a lot of stuff with Togwaggle just going here. Playing it out now, though, because, well, you need to clear off this 8-mana minion, and you also get the stuff you need here now. Considering, though, you picked up the Wondrous Wand, you always do that in this situation here.
Yes.
The question is whether or not you should pick up another one or something else. But going with the double one, shuffling in 11 Heist Baron Togwaggles and 2 Wondrous Wands, meaning if his OBeennn draws a lot of 1 mana or 0 mana version of that, he can just go on a Togwaggle spree. This is a game. Yeah, now we have a really fun game going forward here. Should be noted though, there's 3 bumps in deck, meaning you're efficiently at 8 health if something happens, and the Clockwork Goblin coming in can put it up to 4 if you so wanted. Problem else though is that this Spirit of the Shark might stick because you have 1 shot to hit with 1 bomb to hit it with the other from the death rattle here.
Yeah, and you really don't want that to stick. Oh, and it is going to.
Ooh, that's not something you want to see. You can shield block and look for something like Warpath if you want, but this is not looking good. The Celiac's pickup.
That can help a little bit. You definitely have some
Healing
health that you
potential,
can gain back there.
But that, yeah, if you make... Yeah. Pushing down to 14. All that with 3 bombs in deck though, with 4 bombs can be able to come in next round. You might be able to just kill, and that's 1 bomb. Ooh, that's the prep. This is also dangerous though, because the bombs now with Wondrous Wand, you can just draw bombs.
You can.
But yeah, these double Life Drinker coming in clutch there, healing for 6 per.
It'll at least chew through some of the armor that Empanizado has been able to build up through double blast shield.
See here, that's the Heist Baron. It's a sap, and that's an SI7 agent. This sap also fits in perfectly to remove that boom bot that has been buffed with or magnetized with this Celiax here. Being able to go in the Goblin Lackey, playing out the Heist Baron Togwaggle to just get even 2 more treasures here. Picking up 1 Sarok's Crown, no, 2 Sarok's Crown, basically giving him much more refill for the turns coming here.
May as well use it now,
Legendary WCG. Oh, instant pick Mechathune. That's like a big old minion.
If Empanizado doesn't draw
Brawl,
that last copy of Brawl that's in the deck, then this is going to be
a lot of damage, yeah. Like the Warpath deals with everything except the Cthulhu, but can you take 20 when you're at 30? No, that means you're dead to Leroy and something.
We also saw a Tempo Omega Devastator earlier on, so you don't have that 10 burst damage to a minion available.
This Omega Assembly though might make or break the game. If this hits something like Omega Devastator.
Yeah.
Along with as well the hero power now, the Discoverer mech, that you don't have the mana to do both of those. So this is a rough situation here now for Empanizado here, and seeing those tech cards with like getting the second Togwaggle along with Shark seems like the way to go to beat this warrior. But Empanizado, does he has trust in his RNG, trust that he managed to discover the correct mechs?
Even if you use those resources now, you really only get the ability to remove 1 Mechathune. You still have to deal with taking...
Yeah, you can use the Super Collider, but then you take 10 damage.
Yeah, you're still taking a lot. But it's better than taking
20.
Double that.
Yeah.
So
here comes the Vicious Scrap Hound. Just to be able to clear a little bit off. Just going to clear off as much as possible here. The thing is like, well, you take 10. You're down to 22, so you're still okay. But it's 5 damage on board. There is 10 damage from hand just for Leroy and Coldblood, and the SI7 representing even 2 more damage here.
he's counting.
Yeah, he's counting.
You've got 10 from Leroy Coldblood. Wondrous Wand might draw some additional burst damage here.
That's another Heist Baron though. Oh, 2 Heist Barons.
Three Heist Baron
for
Togwaggles.
free. It's like you saw how much problem Empanizado had last turn by dealing with that board, and now you can just build another one.
Gonna take another Xerog's Crown.
And a Wondrous Wand.
Play them all now. If anything, it's 3 5/5 bodies on board.
Yeah, just being able to push tons of damage here. Sarok's Crown can come down, basically giving you a full board that, well, it dies to like a Brawl, but still.
If Brawl gets drawn.
If Brawl gets drawn.
If even 2 of these Heist Baron Togwaggle stick, this is game over.
He's now thinking as well how we should go here, because if he's Sarok's Crown, you can't SI7 this. Oh, these are not the. It's like another 5/5s. It's like a full board of Heist Barons. Yeah, he's really broken into that vault and duplicated himself. He must be happy now with all the gold he can collect. And what's the draw here? That's nothing, and we will probably see this second Warpath going out now just to clear off all of these Heist Barons here. That's another AoE removal tool, and you know that your opponent has tons of treasury in hand. Problem though, he has no more lackeys in hand, meaning the future Togwaggles will not be activated. They just will be regular 5/5s. See the next draw. That's a bomb down to 10 health.
Got 1 left in the deck now.
That's another Heist Baron. Wondrous Wand coming out.
This is dangerous.
Another Heist Baron. Another Heist Baron. And a sap. Okay. The Sarok's Crown coming out. Card a Soul Flare. That's the biggest minion you could build. But that's also dangerous, shuffling Bloods into your own deck, meaning that's bombs and Bloods into your deck.
Yeah, I think this is the much safer option for sure, and going to see the extra 2 damage from the SI7 agent that we've been seeing EBeennn hang on to for a while as well. This is
Yeah, also
definitely
placing
lethal
yeah.
territory.
Also placing it like that because of the opportunity to not get punished by the weapon, the Super Collider. Here we see though the new legendary Snip Snap. Magnetic Echo, Death Rattle summon 2 microbots, and that's perfectly good minion to put down now because you just want something to stick for next turn.
You guarantee anything staying alive, and it's just that extra couple pieces of damage that you really need in order to take the game.
So, there's not many cards left in EBeenn's deck, even though there's a bunch of Togwoggles. So, yeah, you have the opportunity to actually put in 2 more bombs, putting up to 3 in total and 11 cards, making it, well, you need to draw 2 in a row. So, the chances aren't that high to just kill him with bombs, but...
You have there's 2 bombs left in the deck now. There are 10 cards total, so that is a
1 in 5 to draw 1.
Yeah, 20% chance to at least draw 1.
But you need to draw 2.
But you have to draw both.
So this is yeah, you need to calculate really here now how we're going forward. The 3 damage from the hero power doesn't change the math any because, well, it still needs to be 2 bombs. Putting up as many bombs as possible and this Vicious Scrap Hound just to try to wrestle back some of this board.
This is great.
Yeah, clearing off the 6/6, clearing off one of the Snip Snaps, or maybe both. But you're still at 12 though, and there's 10 damage in hand for your opponent, and you just left up 4, so that means EBeennn is taking it.
Oh, is this gonna take it? Not gonna see a double bomb here, but it will be that Leroy Jenkins Cold Blood to finish off Empanizado, and EBeennn is going to take home the very first win of the day.
Yeah, the first round robin win, and that must feel good. You're versus an unfavored matchup.
Yeah.
We just grinded it out. The first game, even not with your primary list, you managed to get it done. And then you just grind it out. There were so many Togwoggles, so many treasures going on. Everything just happening. And then, yeah, the warrior just ran out of removal.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was really tough because we didn't end up seeing the second copy of Brawl. So there was a lot that was very difficult, I think, for Empanizado to really respond to. But it's just the first round of the day. This is still a round robin, so they're going to be playing more of each other as we continue on throughout the day. So just because you've got 1 loss under your belt doesn't mean that it's over yet.
No, of course not. And Bomb Warrior is still a good deck. It's
still very
excellent.
consistent.
Yeah.